This is the CGW podcast. I am Jeff Green, the editor-in-chief of Computer Gaming World, and with me today is the cast and crew of the magazine, which include the following.
Sean Malloy, managing editor.
Sean Elliott, previous editor.
Darren Gladstone, senior editor.
Ryan Scott, reviews editor.
And on the soundboard... Oh, he's not talking. He has no mic.
I have no mic, kids.
It's
Sorry.
Scott, but we love him ananyway.
He has no mic and he must scream.
Yeah. Scream, Scott.
Ah!
Wow.
You
do it.
That was good.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will dive right into the fun at hand, and I guess a lot of fun was had by Sean Elliott and Darren this weekend, not the others of us. Maybe we had our own fun, but we didn't have the same fun that they had. Because what were you two guys playing? Tell the folks.
Half-Life 2, Episode 1.
And we likey?
We likey mucho. It was a fun game, man.
Yeah, it's very good.
It just, I mean, actually, that's probably the poster child for how episodic content should be done. It feels right when you play it.
Okay, so how long was it?
Well, I did a lot of exploring, and then I stupidly missed one part early on. You know where when you first get trapped by the stalkers in the train car kind of thing? Mm-hmm. There's like this one hole in a train car in the subway that I totally missed. I was like walking back and forth and I missed it until I turned my flashlight on it.
So you were just in there.
I was like walking back and forth like an idiot.
Oh, in the black subway.
Exactly.
It's like pitch black. All right.
Wait, actually, let's back up. So let's talk about how you get this game. You know, why people should get it, where you go to get it, because you can't buy this at the store, can you? Some folks may not know this.
Not yet. It will be available later. It's probably available now.
I think it is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's part of a deal with EA.
Okay.
Publishing, just like Sin Episode's first episode Emergence was out the same time in stores. You could do the same here. But I mean, the only reason to do that is if you just insist on having a hard copy, which a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, you still have to go through Steam to verify it and decrypt it and everything. So it's
even if you buy it,
if you buy the hard copy, yes, you're not escaping that.
As long as you have a broadband
you
account,
just get the copy there with you.
So how long did it take you guys to download the episode?
Well, I didn't actually do a timer on it because I set it to download while I left work for the day and I started the download, and by the time I was there in the morning, it had preloaded.
Okay.
Yeah, I preloaded the same thing, and it was cool because it went global on Tuesday at 10, and you could see all the people lined up on the message boards, and then as soon as people were decrypting, they'd pay screens saying look, we're decrypting 75%, and then we'd all jump in. At first, we were like, all right, let's agree to come back every other level and post impressions to get the people that didn't buy it, wondering and excited. But then there was this 5-hour silence after that, and it was basically all of us playing it and not wanting to put it down. Yeah. So the entire time I played it all in the office that day, so it didn't take that long. But it's like Half-Life 2. When it came out, I just did not want to get away from it. I was just sucked into it completely. I wanted to just keep playing and playing. It picks up immediately after, as in seconds after the ending of Half-Life 2. So answer some questions right off the bat as to what happened. You end Half-Life 2 and you're frozen in time by the G-Man.
Does it not feel at all like cheap or lesser because it's episodic as opposed to a full-on expansion, say?
I didn't really think of it in that respect. Basically, I think they already learned lessons from the first game, from the first installment, I guess, and. Sean and I were going back and forth earlier about this, about how just the interplay with Alex just feels so much different and so much better from the first Half-Life 2.
It's really tight. It's really tightly focused. Valve was talking about it in terms of it being a short story compared to the novels that are full release games, and you could see it. Whereas in Half-Life 2, you start off with the view of the Citadel and you end inside the Citadel. Here, you start off inside you start off with the view of it again, and then you go and by the end of it, it's the last thing you see again, but something else has happened to it. But it's got this really tight circular patterning to it, and then as Darren said, the big focus here is on Alex, on the characterization of her, and then just being with this other person, and it works so well that you look at her and she never says anything that makes you want to groan or something, which is, that's a huge compliment in video gaming, because anytime a character opens his mouth too much, you just want to turn him off, and So big ups to the writers on that.
She actually felt like, it felt like a real person was there with you, which kind of pulls you into the story further, which I thought was the coolest part.
And she actually opens her mouth too.
And they really
Guild Wars
put work iterating into it too. So for example, if you just say, hey, let's have this woman in here with you, and she's going to go along everywhere you go. I mean, a lot of people are going to get annoyed and say, oh, she's bossy, or I have to follow her or whatnot. And so they did explore all those, as the commentary explains. But ultimately, because people reacted in that way, I just want to lady, shut up. I want to do what I want to do. They found some middle ground through iterating where it's like she still has a personality, but she's definitely not controlling your experience or anything. The downside of it is I think that the more they make her a sympathetic character and the more life they give to her, the less alive Gordon seems, because Gordon his only means of interacting with the world's violence. And I'm sure Valve's aware of it. It's like the character Dr. Brain accuses him, what have you ever made? All you've ever done is destroy things. And so he's kind of like this autistic weapon because he can't talk to her, he can't hug her. And there's all these times when she's showing all this emotion and, you're leaving and she's pressing her hand on the glass and saying goodbye, and it's like it's almost bringing out.
You can hit her with the crowbar, can you?
No, you can't do anything like that. So now it's
you never listen
because she's handled so well. It's kind of bringing up these new issues where you're like, well, what then? Where that part of the game is a movie you watch, and then the game part is the shit that you're blowing up and the stuff that you're fighting.
Maybe this is all just men are from Mars. She talks, she cares, and you just kill shit.
Yeah. There's times, like she gets, I don't want to give too many spoilers away. I think a lot of people have already played it, but there's times where she definitely could use like a word or two or something just to say like, hey, I actually am acknowledging that you exist, that you're here, Other things about the game is it's really... if Valve's done the sort of, amusement park ride design in the past, they've really done it in this one.
Wow.
It doesn't have even some of the more open-ended parts in Half-Life 2. They were pretty few and far between, but there were a few sections where you had some options. I don't want to say. I'd say, I guess, maybe in terms of how you're handling antlions, there's times when you have, options afforded to you. You didn't either use them or not, use them in different ways. The car section, some people you can just get rid of. You just can forego the Jeep if you want. And the speed runners actually bunny hop that whole section since it's paradoxically faster than the vehicle. But here, and then, a few other things where it opened up. There's the part inside Nova Prospect Prison where you get the turrets out and you have to set them up a certain way, and then instead of moving forward, because the game's usually moving forward rapidly, you stop and you have to figure out how you're going to survive this encounter.
Fun. That was a good level.
Yeah, so the two sections in Episode 1 are very much like that, and I thought those are the ones everyone's responding to. You hear people talking about an elevator, and that's basically... You're waiting for an elevator to come, another scenario you've heard before, but then all hell breaks loose and a lot of stuff comes at you, and you've got to figure out how to do it, how to survive it, and there's something else that's kind of like that toward the end. But as much it's kind of hard to fault them because it's the rail ride is so well done and it's so smooth and inobtrusive that you just have a good time playing it. But at the same time, you kind of wonder, like, what would it be like if they stopped more and let the AI breathe, gave it a little more room to let the fights last a little longer?
Yeah, and in that respect, I think it's where, like, they might have... another Steam game that just came out recently, Sin Episodes. Well, one thing that their strength is that they made it just an unapologetic shooting gallery. In that respect, that game worked. Now, I almost wish that some of that got poured more into Episode 1. But
that there was more straight shooter stuff?
Well, at least just more targets to hit, more, something along those lines. But otherwise,
do you miss the breasts too?
Oh yeah, I really, man, that was such an uncomfortable moment at the home trying to play that as my fiance is watching
at Shea Gladstone.
Seriously, that was
a few other things I really wanted to see in this game that we have every reason to believe we'll see them in Episode 2. Oh, God, I got a cough again.
Shawn dies every week on the podcast.
Okay, so... No new weapons in Episode 1, and very few new creatures. And while Valve was really, when we last spoke with them for our Aftermath cover story, they were really proud of the fact that when people came to them asking them what's next, they weren't asking what are the new weapons, what are the new levels, what are the new creatures. They're asking them about motivation, weightier matters like that. But at the same time, I think it is the monster menagerie and the weapons that make Half-Life series what it is. And so without new without too many new entries in it, you kind of find yourself, well, hey, why are you guys being stingy? Throw some more in there. And they're alluding to all that in a second. And the trailer that they show when you complete episode 1 shows clearly some new things.
Well, technically, there was one new weapon. I mean, well, in a sense, when you
the flare,
when you capture the mines, and Alex reprograms them to hunt the.
Right.
So, I mean,
that was the equivalent of the antlines
exactly.
in this one. But
does
they only used
Dog
that 2
come back?
times.
Is Dog in episode 1 or episode 2? Sorry.
He's the very first thing you see.
He's the very first thing you see. And actually, it's a really cool... I don't want to blow anything for people who haven't played the game yet, but it's a very cool opening sequence that revolves around Dog.
So not any genuine interaction with him, though, which is kind of disappointing. But
yeah, well, definitely want to see more of him, that's for sure.
So how long did it take you to breeze through? Did I ask you that?
It took me about, the recommended 6 hours or so.
It's like 4 for me or something. I played again on the commentary mode and really enjoyed that. And commentary mode on it's great, too. Not fluff at all. I mean, as you're playing, real eye-opening. I was talking to Sean Malloy earlier about how at the best moments, you just interact with the world in some way, and then you hit the commentary panel, and it basically just explains, what you just did and why. And you're like, hey, cool. I did do that,
So what, it will flash when there's a comment?
They're floating comment
they're floating bubbles around the world, so and you can activate them whenever you use anything in the environment.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was one of the good things they took from Lost Coast, and I hope they do with a lot of other developers pick up and do as well.
It's really pretty revolutionary, I guess, what they're doing. I mean, it's kind of a quiet, huge deal, but this is a major expansion to a huge major game, and it was released online first.
Right. And I think it's going to do. I think it's doing really well already, and will continue to do well. And it ends on such a good note. How we're talking about how the problem with Sin episodes is that I haven't even finished the thing, and it's like by the time the next one comes out, how much anticipation is going to be there. But this one, the moment it ends, you want more. You're like, I can't wait. Can I have that now? And then the problem is it's like, oh God, 5 months is such a long time to wait now. I want to play this right away. And then so. I think a few of the things, in addition to the variety, ending with a teaser trailer of the next one. I mean, that's just basic episode stuff. It would be like the end of a Lost episode without a teaser. So they did that right, and then the teasers, they spend the whole episode making you really care about Alex, and then the first thing you see in the teaser is that it looks like she's dead or she's dying or something. So it's definitely a cliffhanger, and they introduce more questions, just like we were saying in our previous podcast, how they've got to keep some things out there that they'll develop over time. So they're nailing it on all those counts. Now the big thing is we got to wait another 5 months.
If you really think they'll hit it in 5 months,
I think they will, just because I suspect that they've kind of taking an approach a lot of the high profile comics artists will do, where they'll do a 6-issue series and they'll wrap 3 of them before they announce the thing, and then they're slow on the last few ones at the pace they work. So I think they've got a good head start on 2 already. I mean, look at the trailer. It's like,
yeah, I sure hope so, because I'm looking
the
forward to it.
commentary reveals too. You'll find a lot. I don't want to spoil too much, but a lot of the setup there, it's kind of like it was different. They're saying it's difficult because this is already basically done for 2, and we just had to set it up here. And
5 months is a long time. Yeah, but I guess when you think about,
So is 5 years, I guess.
Yeah, 5 years or 2 years between expansions.
So were you seeing a lot of the same areas from the original?
That was the other thing. I mean, they're different, environments, but they're similar. There's a hospital, and hospitals are sort of similar to prisons in a weird way, so it kind of reminded of Nova Prospect. There's subway sections and
it's just like Ravenholm-ish.
So it definitely was... it's different. It wasn't exactly the same, but you're in the same environments and whatnot. Different parts of the Citadel, much deeper inside it and things like that.
It is kind of cool. You see some kind of similarities. Obviously, it's the Citadel. When you go back and it's falling apart the second time, as opposed to when you're there the first time, fighting your way up to the top.
But I really, though, I agree. I mean, I wish there were all new environments, and so for 2, it's like we know now that they're moving out into some kind of deep forest, likely some Arctic areas and facilities and stuff, and. I mean, I'm a sucker for that stuff. You want to feel like you're in a new space, and they do their spaces so well.
So what do you think, Ryan? Are you going to play now that you've heard all this?
No.
Have you even played Half-Life 2?
He's still too busy playing Guild Wars factions.
Actually, I think I was the first among us to play Half-Life 2.
Okay.
What?
I played it at some pre-E3 event.
Oh, that's right, he was.
What a waste.
Back before it came out. That you were supposed to go to.
So this whole time
the entire game?
Oh, yeah,
No. I mean, I played through. It was some driving level.
I think they had the driving level.
Yeah.
So I think when you guys were talking about all that, Ryan is just hearing is just like wow, 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 Guild Wars, wow, wow, wow.
Had you played it at all after that E3 event? Had you played it at all after that? Or was that your only?
That I might have played a little bit of it.
It's good.
I think that was
You're killing me, Ryan. Killing me.
The most exposure I've had to it, though.
Ryan, we've got I've got a shooter that came out today that's just for you. It's a mod for the Source Engine, and it's called Trojan, the Divine Playground. And it's
strap on that loincloth.
Yeah, so it's basically toga battles with slingshots and
awesome.
And spears, and there's like bullet time for your spear, and all kinds of funny
Are
stuff.
you serious?
Yeah, it's pretty, but it's kind of fun playing it because it's like you can have like there's a ton of bots and they operate with you, so it's kind of like a 2-player co-op game. But the other side does also has humans controlling. You know, they play the god characters and they just basically shuttle between the guys that they're controlling. But hey, it's different. I got to play more to give you a solid thumbs up or down. But if you don't like the guns, Ryan, you can use a slingshot in this one.
With Ye Holy Magic Missile number 5.
Well, it's not really the guns. It's the first person. I just don't like.
Does it make you nauseous or something?
It's just weird to me playing first person games where I can't see the character that I'm playing. It's weird. Like it's like a peripheral vision.
Did you play Oblivion?
No.
Would you play it if you could just scroll wheel back and see your character?
Possibly.
So how are you with like Tomb Raider kind of games or
those are
Prince
cool.
of Persia? Yeah.
And have you guys? This isn't a PC game, but have you guys played Unreal Championship on the Xbox?
Yeah.
Like I've played that. That's fine. It's just.
But not tournament.
So being able to scroll the wheel back a little bit.
You're talking about Unreal Championship 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. The first or second one, yeah.
The second one.
Intriguing. You guys have anything else to say about episode 1? So we should all get it.
I think you should definitely get it. Yeah.
Do we know how many episodes it's going to
it.
last?
3 episodes for this. I guess this story arc. There's probably more.
How much
on the
is
way.
it?
$19.99.
While we're pimping.
$20.
Okay.
On
You know
Steam
what?
and
it really
retail.
is worth it.
It's one of those things where when you're done, you're not even thinking about money.
Yeah, sure.
You know, everyone
I
keeps
believe
saying
you.
that,
Yeah.
and they break it down in the math, you know, and they were like, well, if you only played it for 5 hours and then maybe another 3 on the commentary mode, it's like when you're
There's a lot of
playing
games
it,
that are 5 hours.
It's just money's not on your mind. You're like, this is a good game. I'm enjoying playing this, and like, if I didn't buy this, I would have really missed out.
Yeah, you know, I don't really. That argument doesn't really hold it for me anymore.
I find it odd that people put a different price point on playing a game as opposed to like watching a 2-hour movie.
I was just going to say. I was just going to say, how much do DVDs cost? 21 bucks.
And even going to the movies, $10 to sit there for 2 hours for some piece of crud, like you guys all saw X-Men. Don't you wish you
actually, Scooter has
How was
the
the
best
game on that? Did any of us end up reviewing that
game? Yeah, what's weird is the X-Men game and the Da Vinci Code game just kind of like snuck into the office as sort of like, you know, some bad cheese or something. And they're just sitting there. No one's picking them up. No one's reviewing them.
We got today, it was like extreme duck hunting.
Oh, no. Ultimate duck hunting. You actually get to select and train your dogs.
But the dog on it looked like it was biting its lip. If that was
some
possible.
really bad lip problems.
Yeah.
The dog looked like it was biting its own lip.
It was one of those games.
Square-jawed dog with
Can they do that?
No. But you look at it, you ever have something where you look at it and you feel bad for it, so bad that you're almost like,
Yeah.
I should just buy this. I feel bad for these
For the people who had to work on it and making it.
But it's like some hillbilly on the back, you know, with his dog, and I don't know. I don't
All
know.
those Deer Hunter games.
Well, probably most of those guys are, you know, just wishing they were working on Half-Life 2, right? They're just, God
I don't know.
damn it.
Maybe they're really into it.
I mean,
Maybe.
you could make a really good hunting game, and there are a few.
Or a duck
but
hunting mod
There's
for,
nothing wrong with that. It's just that when you look at them, they're always so homely looking in terms of the execution.
You actually want to shoot yourself instead of the dog.
That'd make a good line for a box.
Feel free to use that quote, guys.
Yeah, I'd rather shoot myself than play this game.
Let's scan when reviews come up at that, or when the one review. Actually, first we should see who reviews it, but then we got to like verify that they've got the Dick Cheney joke in there too.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah, the obligatory. Yeah. So we're probably not going to review that or Da Vinci Code or X-Men.
Well, actually, I'm going to. Okay, we're probably not going to.
No,
Over the head.
Yeah, he says no. I do have to throw out one thing, only because my fiance Amy, she is a sucker for the Da Vinci Code, so she wanted to play the game, and it's all about puzzles, and she seems to love it. So, if you like puzzle games and you and you can forgive a little,
You
on the
like the Da
graphics,
Vinci
Amy
Code?
says it's good.
really, that's it.
That's a lot of.
That's a lot of
Supposition there.
that's a lot of ifs there, but you know what? A couple million people like like it, so it's not,
All right, so Amy says check out the Da Vinci Code.
Exactly.
The rest of us who don't know anything about it say don't bother.
Or if you don't know Amy.
I listened to it in audiobook form.
He did?
Yeah.
But the X-Men one,
unfortunately,
we might want to not dismiss. I heard that the Iceman can shoot ice and the Wolverine claws.
Really?
Does he snick?
Wow, that's fantastic.
And the Nightcrawler guy can teleport. So
Awesome. I thought Nightcrawler isn't in the new movie.
He's not.
He's not.
But he's in the game?
You can only have 2 maximum blue characters because they had Mystique and Beast. So
what is that?
Oh yeah, the whole
design
thing would
rule?
be the Smurfs.
Yeah.
The Beast, Nightcrawler, and Mystique.
Did you make up that rule, Sean, or was that there?
No, that's in the book.
Really? You can only
that's
have
rule
2
book.
blue characters?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
That's great.
Wow.
I gotta chill with that.
Meanwhile,
me too.
Kelsey Grammer playing like the Cookie Monster in that movie. Jesus, that was.
Or the Monsters Inc.
Yeah. Okay, well, we are going to take a slight break here, and we'll be back with more exciting podcast fun.
One Up Network Radio is being brought to you by And One Street Ball, the only authentic street ball game featuring the full roster of And One Mixtape Tour players. That's guys like Hot Sauce, Helicopter, and the Professor. It's available for PlayStation 2 and Xbox for $39.99 on Tuesday, June 6th at your favorite online and real-world stores. And One Street Ball is rated E10 for everyone 10 and up. Hi, this is Garnet Lee, host of One Up Yours. Every week in the month of June, One Up Radio, along with And One Street Ball, is giving away $100 iTunes Music Store gift cards. All you have to do is listen to One Up Yours this Friday afternoon to learn how to win. Or you can find the contest rules at our message boards. That's boards.oneup.com. $100 in iTunes goodness courtesy of And One Street Ball and the One Up Radio Network. Sony Computer Entertainment takes no responsibility for this offer.
And we're back.
That was kind of weird. Like, Mom just came in the room when we caught us podcasting or something.
Yeah.
Like, hold on.
Okay. Open the window. Make sure we get the smoke out.
Yeah, we have a sponsor now. It's kind of weird.
That's a good thing.
I guess it's a good thing.
Don't get ourselves in trouble. Let's move on.
No, I won't. I won't make fun of the sponsor.
Yet.
Chomping at the bit. Won't do it. Have we the Garry's mod? We didn't. Well, you talked about the.
Well, Garry's mod's going live. It's Garry's mod 10 is coming up pretty soon, right?
Yeah, it's coming out on Steam. When we last talked to him for our story in the magazine for the mods. Yeah, this is the Steam episode.
Steam issue. Yeah.
But so much is coming out on there. But anyway, yeah, Gary Newman of Garry's Mod last told us that he had no interest
Not a Cars fan.
in making his game retail.
Not that Gary Newman.
Yeah. But so anyway, he is in fact now making his game retail for $5 over Steam.
That's cheap.
And with Valve's blessing. And you can get all the previous versions for free still. And it's just if you want number 10. And he's adding quite a few new features to it. And
Can you get the older ones for free still?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you can?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's like a real player or something.
And then, other quick note on Gary is he's got this new game coming out called Face Wound. Deliciously named, but it's because his studio is called Face Punch Studio, so it's kind of, like Crytek, Crysis type thing. And it's this wacky looking 2D sides. Well, it's like a pseudo 3D side-scrolling shooter game with weird floating brains and stuff and all kinds of internet in-jokes and memes going on in the background, and it just looks completely chaotic. And no offense to Gary, but what was your reaction when you watched the movie, Darren?
Jesus.
Just like, Gary is retarded.
I'm like, no, I think
but in a good way. It was like,
yeah, I think
retarded in a good way.
Yeah, as in let's get retarded in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
because you're watching it, it's so absurd. The crap on the screen. It's like,
Right. Don't send us angry letters. We mean it in the Black Eyed Peas way.
Right.
Yeah, because we're very
retarded.
street, and yet
Yeah.
it's like if you took something off the forums and made a game out of it. So,
What did they mean anyway? Let's get retarded in here. What did that mean?
we can dissect the lyrics for next time.
Let's be stupid. Is that what that meant? Like,
Yeah.
let's
they
be
meant
dumb.
instead of saying "girl, we couldn't get much higher," to say "girl, things couldn't get much better."
Okay. Didn't that get changed to "let's get started"?
Let's
in
get it
here?
started, yeah.
Yeah.
Selling out to the man once again.
Yep. I hate the man. Okay, so other than Steam, do we have anything to talk about this month? You're still playing Rise of Legends, or
I am
this
still
week?
playing Rise of Legends.
And
and it's still good.
It's holding up.
Yeah, it has yet to piss me off, which is pretty good for an RTS.
So are you still blowing through the single player campaign? You going online?
I'm just about at the end of the second of the three legs.
Okay, so you're in the ALM campaign right now.
Yeah, right at the end of that one. About to start the Quattro, or however you pronounce that.
How is that though? I mean, like I've only had a chance to play through the Vinci part so far, and it's just very steampunky. I mean, does the game change its feel as you're going?
Yeah, I was a little nervous when I started the Alien campaign because you still have the same units right at the beginning. So I'm like, I thought I was going to play as some other group, but then plot stuff happens and you're suddenly playing as the other group. So you do get, it is a pretty distinct difference.
And they're pretty different too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very kind of Arabian themed and have lots of desert things and they're more magic-y. So
and it definitely has a different feel, kind of like how when you played StarCraft for that first time through the campaign, and there's the human Zerg and
I was hoping they would do that, and they kind of did. They're not so different at this point that it's like mind-blowing, but because like I think the Zerg were like way different than the Terrans, so I think it's more of like a Protoss Terran kind of comparison. But maybe the third, I haven't even seen this third faction yet, so they could be completely crazy.
Every game should just add Zerglings.
All about the Zerg rush.
Yeah.
What about Hitman? Anyone playing that? Blood Money?
It just started. It's very basic right now, but I mean, I like the idea behind it. I only had time for the tutorial mission this weekend. It's a good start. I'll be able to report back next week.
All right.
I'm still protesting those ads. They're just too gross. I don't want to play that game. I'm sorry.
The thing I want to know about this Hitman is the problem I had with the previous ones is there's supposed to be all these open-ended options and all these myriad ways that you can take out your mark. But sometimes they're only a few, and they're very carefully planned, and it's a matter of you figuring out what they are. And sometimes they're counterintuitive, and it's punishing you for like not getting them. And that's been the frustrating part for me. Usually,
I agree.
So it's more like puzzle-oriented in a way, or
right.
I mean, well, they addressed that. I mean, I asked them early on when they were previewing the game the first time around, and they said that that's a big part of it is leaving many different ways for you to set up the hits. You can the idea is to make it look like an accident.
Right.
If you can make it look like an accident, and it's a little bit of puzzle solving in that respect, but it's not like the get the cat hair and the syrup to make me look like I have a mustache. But
it wasn't always like that. But I guess the difference between, say, a GTA mission where you're supposed to take out some guy when he leaves a movie theater, and then it really is literally up to you what you want to do. If you want to block him in by parking a million cars in there that are going to blow up by throwing a Molotov cocktail into them, if you want to snipe, whatever. Whereas in Hitman, there might be like to get in to satisfy the conditions where you can get close enough to this guy or whatever, you've got to do a few things. Like you've got to find one very specific costume, but to get that costume, you've got to like kill him in a very specific way or find him in a very specific moment.
Right.
And so it's finding all those rules that it's like, FAQ territory. And
yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't gotten too deep into it, but I do like the fact that they're saying they're going to leave it open-ended, and
I like that they're saying that too.
Well, I like them saying it. I hopefully they're actually doing it.
Yeah.
But there's something else that's kind of cool incentivizing it is that you actually want to go through each of these missions without being seen, because actually like newspaper reports are getting generated depending on how you perform in each mission. So if you leave witnesses or act suspicious around people, they'll actually be like at the end of each mission. There's like a fake newspaper and there could be a police artist sketch of you, so that in the next
the loading screen.
Well, pretty much. But in the next episode, in the next mission rather, they'll be looking for you from the get go. So it makes it it scales up the difficulty.
But that could be a bad thing. Imagine if you keep getting noticed, and by the fifth mission, you've got half the world looking for you. So then you got to reload mission.
So then it turns into a shooting game as opposed to a stealth game.
Cool.
I guess a lot of those games are kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely want to hear back from you again next week, because it's like I'm close to getting that game and playing it. I just need a little more convincing.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I haven't gotten too deep in, but the potential. So.
Any other games? We're very game heavy this week.
Well, that's what we're
supposed to podcast about it. Yeah, that's right.
What we do.
I'm sorry.
Where do we work?
Would you rather talk about Desperate Housewives?
We can talk about.
I've never seen that show ever.
Good for you.
Do you know what I did this weekend? I attended a wedding in World of WarCraft.
Oh, wow.
Were you the best man?
I actually wasn't invited, but my daughter was. It was for her gift.
So you just
she was a bride
freeloaded?
Yeah, I went on the same server. I was just sort of like hanging around the outskirts there, and
how did you feel at that moment? Describe your feelings.
Pretty stupid.
Explain to us.
Is this what she was making cookies and stuff for you were talking
No,
about?
that's for this coming holiday season. That's not till like Halloween and Christmas that they're making.
No, are they having a
costumes.
bake sale, or are they actually?
No, they're giving away the cookies. Always
So in the spirit of the
Darren always has an angle.
What's to stop a bunch of other players
Always be closing.
from just riding through?
Oh, there was nothing preventing them. No, the wedding
They
was
just
in
kind of all agreed to-
Darnassus, I guess it is. And there was a level 60 night elf priest who was performing the ceremony, and there was a dwarf male character and a female human, I think.
Oh, that's
and these
disgusting.
two, I know, that's interbreeding.
She's only after him for his money.
Yeah, I was really against it. Yeah, personally. And so they had the ceremony. They had bridegrooms and bridesmaids lined up, and they were all kneeling. You know, they all did the kneel.
Were they all like role playing in the dialogue too?
Kind of. Yeah, the priest was speaking in and he was yelling across the zone too, so everybody in the zone could hear it. He's like,
Yep.
do you, Arthane, take, and other people who had no idea what was going on were just like writing back, STFU,
Nice.
WTF.
So where, like, in your gut reaction?
So were there any objections then to the ceremony?
Yeah, people were just objecting to them hogging the server chat, I think. Huh?
Was your gut reaction like, this is amazing stuff that this kind of thing can happen in a virtual world, or was it like, oh god?
It was a
bit
little
of both.
It was a little bit of both. Yeah, I mean, because what was cool is in quotes, but like right when they said "I do," like all the people in the wedding party who were like engineers had made a bunch of fireworks, so they shot up all these fireworks into the air, and people were dancing, getting more and more scared. That's hot. And then for the party, they all went and they raided the Crossroads. That was their party. They raided another zone.
Oh, that's good.